Hello everyone, Manithral here, and welcome to the weekly update video for OSRS. Now this week, we actually have a lot to cover again. We have a fishing skill boss, the Easter event, and some rules clarification that I'll be adding into the end. And this is pertaining to real-world trading, and how it's looked at, and how it's actually handled, and what, tips and tricks that you could do to either not do it, or if you've been mistakenly doing it for some time. It's one of those things that they want to clear up any confusion before they actually crack down hard on it. First, we'll go over the updates for the week. So the updates for the week are as follows. Also, it's important to note that tomorrow, Thursday, March 25th, there's actually going to be a couple hour shutdown period for server maintenance, because they're trying to maintain their servers a bit better than before. I think they took too long of a break the last time and seen the results. So tomorrow there's going to be a little bit of a shutdown for some server maintenance. That will be it says there will be an hour countdown beginning at 10 GMT. So do keep that in mind. It does say here, as the team starts to unwind ahead of the Easter public holidays, there will be no game update next week, or usual weekly update schedule returns on Wednesday, April 7th. So next week there's no updates, so don't feel too bad that like you have to rush to get all this out before the next update. So up first we got the fishing skill boss, which is I want to say it's the Tempest. Tempoross. So, Tempoross is here. It is all skilled fishers and spirit anglers, that kind of thing. It's actually a skilling boss. So the Temporaries Overview is that you need to have at least 35 fishing. So they're aiming for it to be accessible to people to actually kind of take part in it, which is actually kind of cool. But in order to do this, the XP, well, there's other things. This is generally based on XP levels for 35 to 70, so afterwards it might not be as good for you guys, but that's something to keep in mind. But as for his XP rates, if you're doing the Tempoross, it's 35 fishing is 30k XP per hour. At 70 fishing, it's 70k XP per hour. And then at 99 fishing, you can see it actually kind of dwindles down a little bit. It is 80,000 XP per hour. So it does have its target range. There will also be themed worlds for Tempoross where you can find crewmates to help you out with it. It'll be US World 422, EU 463, UK 341, and Oz is 531. Now the Tempoross locations, there's actually one in the Caribbean Desert, which is just northwest of Manithral. This is actually the ruins of Unka and the Sea Spirit Dock, which is located in the Caribbean Desert. So it's just northwest of the Manithral and just southwest of the Desert Temple. So do keep that in mind. And then there's also another one, which... trying to see where it says here that it is actually at, but it doesn't necessarily say. Actually, I think this one takes you to this one's island. I think that's what it is. Yeah, so it takes you to the Sea Spirit Dock. Well, you use the Sea Spirit Dock, and then you go to the layout of the Tempoross encounter. So it's just his own individual island, essentially. The Tempoross encounter has different phases, of course, but it has three important stats. Well, yeah, it has different phases, but there's three important stats to keep an eye on. Energy, which behaves like the regenerating armor and is reduced in phase 1. Essence behaves like health and is reduced in phase 2. And then finally, you have Storm Intensity, phase 1 failure timer. You must reduce its energy before this reaches 100%. So it's kind of important to keep in mind. Phase 1 is the storm, of course. So in this, there's core looping, gathering, and loading. So to defeat the awakened spirit, you must gather harpoon fish and load them into your cannons to launch it at Tempoross. Raw harpoon fish can be caught at several locations around the island using need we say it, harpoon. So, once you've collected enough of the fish, head back to the ship and fire them with the cannons and start dealing damage to Tempoross. So that's all you got to do for that one. Like fishing, loading a cannon is progressive action, and one cannon isn't enough. Your team will need to work together and get as many cannons running up. Obviously, the better, more the better. So, raw harpoon fish are sufficient for dealing damage to the boss. However, sacrificing a bit of time in cooking harpoon fish will harden them and dealing even more damage, which actually kind of makes sense. Using either a dragon or a crystal harpoon will give better catch rates, obviously. The latter also gives 1/3 chance of catching crystallized harpoon fish, which will earn you some extra XP. The infernal harpoon passive cooking effect will also apply, offering a 1/3 chance of harpoon fish being cooked as you fish. So there's a way to actually optimize. Adding layers and attacks. So you got to be wary of Tempoross's attacks. These shake up the core loop, keeping the player space dynamic and forcing players to stay on their toes. They've opted for attacks that hinder mobility and resource hoarding, as opposed as to causing as much damage as possible. So, as they don't want people hoarding too much food to be the solution. This means Tempoross can be considered a safe activity and is accessible to a wider group. So hardcore Ironmen, feel free to go into this. There is a wave attack, which Tempoross will occasionally unleash a huge 360 wave that covers the entire area. So you'll need to tether yourself to the masts or totem poles with rope to avoid being swept away. When tethered, the waves will pass over you without any effect. You cannot move and you're pretty good. But you will lose some stuff, like you will lose some fish, like a random tool, like a hammer. Not your like big expensive crystallized or crystal harpoons though. But it also says that the wave will have a chance of breaking mast and totem pole. If this happens, you'll need to repair them with a hammer before the next wave hits, literally. The lightning attack, so you gotta watch out for the lightning strikes. They hit a tile, and the area will ignite and cause some, in this case, this causes block off pathways. So, be careful not to stumble into the fires, or you'll lose fish and tools to the flames. So, now you can put these out with buckets of water, so do keep that in mind. The clouds are summoned and then they start to strike, so watch out for clouds forming. That's the thing to remember. There is also a Torrent Attack, so water torrents. This doesn't break items, but it stops you from firing fish temporarily. If you are standing next to the cannon's ammo crate during a hit, you'll be shocked in place for a few seconds. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. You'll kind of be stunned, if you will, if you get too close. The storm intensity. So during phase 1, it'll continuously increase. If it reaches 100%, the party will be forced to retreat until the storm subsides. For phase 2, which is the Colossus. So, an intense whirlpool swirls the colossal form submerges, drawing in the dispersed spirit fish. If you successfully reduce the Tempoross's energy to 0 before the storm gets too intense, it will submerge, triggering phase 2. So while it's submerged, it'll draw in the fish you scattered in phase 1 to regain its energy. The storm will subside during this time, so this is your chance to get close and disperse energized fish, reducing Tempoross's total essence. Once the essence is fully depleted, your watery foe won't be able to regain its energy and will retreat for a long period of time, leaving the seas safe once again. If Tempoross reaches energy reaches 100% before you deplete, it'll go back to phase 1. So It is a safe thing, but you got to keep with it. You got to keep going. For your prizes and rewards, you got to go to the reward pool, which is near the dock of the Untitled dock. The pool will always contain some resources, but if you're successful to subdue Tempoross, you'll receive extra. So, have a chance to trade for points for unique rewards. If you fail the encounter, you will lose any points you've earned during the attempt. Points will be protected with a bank pin that players will only need to use once per session. So there's the reward pool right there, as you can see there. So we got Spirit Flakes. Okay, so just say that normal and Iron Man can store up to maximum of 8,000 reward chances in a pool, and Ultimate Iron Man can currently have a maximum of 10. So keep that in mind. But there is Spirit Flakes. Spirit Flakes are a common reward found in the pools of the debris. They are fish food infused with energy of Tempoross itself. They are an untradeable resource that provide a 50% chance of catching extra fish for no additional XP. This effect stacks with Rada's Blessing, and the flakes can be used on any type of fish, although not harpoon fish, within the Tempoross encounter. They appear on the collection log with the maximum collection number of 65,535, so you cannot use those with Tempoross. There is a fish barrel. The fish barrel can store a total of 28 raw fish, multiple species. Fish can only be removed from the barrel at a bank, similar to the looting bag. You can combine the fishing barrel with the fish sack to create an equipable version that can be worn in your cape slot. So there you go. The fish sack can be purchased for 1,000 mulch pearls from Auri the Angler on Mulch Island. The barrel is untradeable and fairly rare, so if you have the barrel in your person during PVM death below level 20 wilderness, it will drop to the gravestone and the contents are kept. If you suffer a PVM death above level 20 wilderness or a PvP death, the barrel will be destroyed, the item's value will be dropped to the ground at gravestone, and its contents wiped. There is a tackle box, which that tackle box actually looks pretty cool. So this provides additional storage for fishing equipment such as rods, feathers, bait, angler's outfit. This saves as bank space and improves organization. So you're able to effectively store max number of most pieces of fishing equipment. Exception to this are the charged variants of the Infernal and Crystal harpoons. You can only store one of each of those. But otherwise you can store the 2,147,483,647. So that's pretty good. You also have the Spirit Angler's outfit style. So you can actually so it says take the pieces of the Angler's outfit and a large number of the Spirit Flakes to the Gita Primes east of the Spiritfarer dock to transform it into the Spirit Angler's outfit piece. This is an alternate style for the Angler's outfit. It has some of the same stats and fishing XP bonus. It can be converted back, of course, at any time, talking to the same NPC. People who are fortunate enough to get the entire outfit will find it very useful against Tempoross. The full kit functions as a rope when tethering to a mast or totem poles. This saves you an inventory slot and ensures you don't lose rope when the waves hit. So that's actually very useful for the Tempoross boss fight. The Harpoon Fish Trophy, so that'll be nice for your own player and house. Something to keep in mind, you need level 66 construction and 2 teak planks to make it. And there's also the Tome of Water and Soaked Pages. So this is requiring level 50 magic to equip. It's a new offhand magic item. Similar to the Tome of Fire, water spells are weak compared to the fire alternatives. So the goal of this item about raw damage and more about utility. With the increased accuracy of the curse and binding spells when wielding the Tome of Water, they want it to feel reliable and worse an item switch. time to make a splash. So, adding the Tome of Water, adding soaked pages to the Tome of Water, will get a charge. The effects when wielding the charged tome are as followed: unlimited water runes, standard spellbook water, curse, binding spell accuracy increased by 20%, and the standard water spell damage increased by 20%. Pretty good, actually. The spells only consume one charge. Using the Tome of Water with Ancient Magics will provide unlimited water runes, but will not use charges from the tome, as these spells do not have any added benefit. So keep in mind, since they're not getting charged, you have unlimited water runes in your book then. The uncharged Tome of Water and the soaked pages are tradable, but the charged Tome of Water will be untradeable, so that's something to keep in mind. It will be possible to exchange a Tome of Water for 50 soaked pages should you find yourself having too many tomes and not enough pages. There is a Tempoross pet and Heron pet recolor, so you can also get these here nice little pets, and you can get some different types of spirit flake. Well, you can use spirit flakes when the great blue heron, and you can kind of get some recoloring going on. And there is a rare drop chance that you can actually get the Dragon Harpoon from battling Tempoross. So, that is actually kind of nice to be able to get that outside of combat now. And, of course, Greg the Rabbit is a little bit fed up this year. So, it is your duty as a fellow Gillinor person to kind of get him back into the spirits. So head to Jernor, and if you're able to help out your bunny friend, you'll be rewarded with your very own East Door. Get it? Perfect for impromptu knock-knock jokes. Classic sketch comedy and general obstructions. Obstructionism. So it's kind of a nice little hat you can actually get. The shooting stars. So, shooting stars should now deplete more slowly when large groups are mining them. Cannons can once be placed where a shooting star would land. However, if the shooting star lands on it, it will be destroyed. So, keep that in mind, but you can be reclaiming from Nulodian. There is a chance you might receive additional stardust when mining shooting stars. It goes from 2%, 6%, 12%, 20%, 30%, 42%, 56%, 72%, and 90%. Don't forget, there is also some merch, and there's some actually cool pins, new pins out. As you can see, one is actually the I-Band staff and a nature talisman. Both are actually pretty cool, and then you also have some different key rings. You also have the rubber duck. In other news, we do have the PvP World Rota. It says, thank you to everyone who participated in the recent PvP World Rota survey. So, they said they were going to be trialing a new method, starting with the usual rotation on next week's game update, so the following week. Change the Rota weekly instead of every 2 weeks. So they do want to start changing that actually a little bit more frequently. Every week, basically. Rule clarification. We'll be going over that here in a little bit. There is a smaller change, which is now the Pharaoh's Scepter. It now has a scaling drop rate chance depending on the room the chest is located. So floor 1 is 1 in 3,500, floor 2 is 1 in 2,250, floor 3 is 1 in 1,250, 4 is 1 in 750, and 5 plus is 1 in 650. So that actually helps out a little bit. And this is the stop bot farming level 1 chest with very low stats. The expected hours for the scepter is now higher at a lower end, but lower at the higher end. So let's kind of keep in mind. Master Farmer drop tables for herb seeds now scale with the farming level. This is to stop bots from using Master Farmers with very low stats. Herb seeds will now be worse below 71 farming and better above 71 farming. So the higher the farming you have, the better turnout you're going to get. The PvP safe zone has been increased for the Mount Quadrimortem area. With last week's Zealot item changes, they found that the wrong cost was changed. So they've amended that with this update, and the Zealot robes will now protect over all bones. Other fixes are the notional value of graceful items has been increased. They're now more likely to be protected on death over other items, and more likely to trigger the warning about dropping valuable items. The leeches of Mauritania have been updated to apply their stat drains to the most recent skills, farming, construction, and hunter. The account creation screen once again offers a full choice of boot colors and skin colors, omitting only those that need unlocking specifically. So like the really funky colors, I would imagine, like, you know, onyx and I think blue and green, maybe purple. Players will no longer find all their metamorphic dust consumed by using it on an omelette. A new message informs them if they have previously unlocked the Metamorphosis ability. Quest points are now correctly awarded for the Priest in Peril becomes complete, even if the player does not subsequently receive Grizzle's warning about the perils of Mauritania. A misplaced tree has been moved out of the path near Berde Rot. A typo has been fixed in Profundus. Now, there was actually some hot fixes that were actually taking place and were actually fixed. And so to address those, the issue related is that some debug messages were left into the creation of the Slayer and boss kill log interface. This issue will be fixed within the next game update, so Wednesday, April 7th. The Tome of Water doesn't currently appear in the Magic Skill Guide or features in the level up message. This issue will be fixed on the next game update is April 7th. The scry option for both Portal Nexus and the scrying pool are currently disabled. This will likely remain unavailable until the next update, which is April 7th. They will update though when there's more information to share. Now on to the rule clarification. So this is actually something that I just kind of wanted to tell you guys too, just for a heads up for your own sakes. Just in case you were, you know, maybe doing this and not realizing that it was inappropriate. So, the rule that is in question, or being talked about, is providing or purchasing account services, including but not limited to, things like paying someone to increase your account's experience or complete quests and activities on your behalf are a form of real-world trading and therefore prohibited. So, it does say that game items must only be exchanged for other item services within the game. What they're trying to say with this is that they are going to be cracking down on this, and so the distinction is this: paying for in-game help from a fellow RuneScape player with in-game money or items is absolutely fine. So let's say you're walking around RuneScape, you see somebody, you trade with them, like, okay, you give them 100 gold for 1 gold coin, and then they help you go through and do something. That's okay. However, paying for out-of-game help with from a real person logged into your accounts, basically account sharing with either in-game or real-world money or items, is a breach of the rules. So let's say I had somebody standing, you know, right here behind me, and I was having problems with something. I told them, like, hey, if you do this for me, and I'll give you this item in the game, or I'll pay you real money, you know, that kind of a thing. That's against the rules. Nobody's allowed to log into your account. Put it basic and simple. They have is so you're not supposed to be account sharing anyway, and that technically falls into account sharing. So it also falls into this, so you're kind of breaching 2 rules at the same time. So nobody is allowed into your account except for you. That's the long and short of this, is just make sure you keep it clean like that. And sorry this is a long video, but we had a lot of information to cover today, so thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, later guys.